Hey guys, happy Tuesday. I'm a little thrown off because we're not talking love and marriage DC tonight. We're doing trending topics, and I'm glad to see all of y'all in the building, okay? We got some stuff to talk about. And what do we have to talk about? First, we got to talk about the fact that Nene Leake, someone over there to Carlos King, and she did herself an interview. Part one. Now, you know what? Why did we have to break this thing up into two parts? I don't know. And he's not showing the second part until next Tuesday. I mean, come on. Knock it off. But anyway, some interesting stuff in part one. I'm going to give y'all my take on it. And remember, if y'all catch this train, catch the train. Don't catch feelings. Because I think my take might be a little bit different than many others. I thought those two was over there reminiscing about the past and living in the past and not the present. Shading Roa. I mean, why would you want to go back to a show that you shading? You saying it's the house that you built. Well, Nene, you built the house, but somebody else is living in it. It happens to people all the time. In real world, they call it foreclosure. So your time at Bravo has foreclosed, Nene, and other people are living there. It is what it is, but we'll talk about it. Now we got to talk about also, and I'm just about done with this story, but you know what? It's still going on, so it's a trending topic, and we're going to talk about it. The Carlee Russell. This girl came out and said it was a whole hoax. And now she want to talk about forgive me. Yeah, we can forgive you, honey, but guess what? People are forgiven all the time, and they still got to pay the time for the crime that they did. You're gonna have to suffer some consequences, baby girl. Yeah, you are. And everybody want to say, well, you 25. Well, here's the thing. You could be 19, 18, 15. There's 10-year-olds locked up. You do the crime, you got to do the time. But we're going to talk about it. And Bethenny, oh God. Some people, money is not enough. They want the fame. And I'm almost going to go down by saying that some people would love the fame over the money. They just like to be known. Because Bethenny Frankel has enough money that she can go somewhere, sit down, and shut up. But every time you turn around, if there's a topic, she's out there running her mouth about the topic, loud and proud. So she's saying that the reality stars should be out there striking too. We'll talk about it, okay? And then Kenya Moore, she snapped back at Marc Daly because he wanted to hold her in contempt for allegedly putting Brooklyn in harm's way while filming on Roa. And Kenya's like, stop it. Brooklyn was fine. Marc, knock it off. Well, anyway, guys, that's our topics for trending topics tonight, and we're about to get into it. If you was trying to get in the building, you are locked out because the platform is full. Now I'm showing that there's 98 guests on this train tonight. Y'all need to hit that like button. Don't hop the train. Pay your ticket. Hit that like button, and that is your ticket on this train ride. So make sure you let me know your ticket number. I'm about to board this train, and we're going to get into it, people, because we got some stuff to talk about tonight. We got Felicia in the building. Hey, Felicia. We got, in my opinion,
Hey, Diva.
hey, we got Sebastian.
Hey, everyone.
And I almost forgot everybody. Y'all know what y'all need to do in that chat. I need a what? I need a choo-choo. All aboard, everybody. I'm boarding the people that's on the platform, okay? Hey, Leo.
Hey, Diva.
Hey, Denzel.
Hey, Diva and everybody.
All right. Hey, the Don. Chef Kev. Come on, Emmanuel.
Hello.
And Julius. Hey, everybody. Y'all in the building. We're about to get into this hot
Hey,
topic.
What's going on, everybody?
What's going on?
What's up?
And I guess y'all tonight, I need y'all to behave because guess what? The drink cart is open. Chef Kev is in the building. All right, people, we about to get into this. Thank you, Sheila. Thank you for helping me out, Sheila. Come on, Pete's. Y'all got to hit that like button, okay? Thumbs up, beautiful people. Now, come on. Thank you, Best IBK. So the first topic, you know what? Why don't we go ahead and knock this out the way? Because I'm over this chick. She getting on my last nerves. I'm
What, that crazy girl?
in the family. I'm done with her in the fam. Okay. And that is Carlee Russell. You know, she got herself a lawyer. And I'm not mad at her lawyer. Because her lawyer is doing what a lawyer is supposed to do. He trying to get this chick the least amount of possible time that she can get. Okay. He's trying to negotiate some deals behind the scenes. He done went to the police department by himself today and, you know, was talking to the people. Still didn't bring Carlee in there to say anything, but he went there and spoke on her behalf. He came out, did a little press conference, and what he said was he was like, listen, we're hoping to, you know, to get to the end game, to put this all behind us. Well, you know what? That's easier said than done, but you know what? As her lawyer, I'm not mad at you. I'm also sick of Carlee Lee's, I'm calling Carlee's ex-boyfriend, friend, whatever he is. I'm sick of him. Because one minute he's telling us, don't bully her mental health. Then the next minute he come out and talk about she's a liar. And I feel like y'all feel. You know what? I think his name is Tamar. Pick a side and stick to it. Because you're all over the place. One minute you supporting her, the next minute you're not. I'm done. She pissed me off. This is a very sad situation, and there's a lot of feelings on both sides of the house. Yeah, clout chaser. Come on now, Miss G. Okay? And then you know what? Many people are saying, well, now they're not going to look for the black girls. Well, guess what? I'm going to be honest with you. Whether this situation happened or not, you know, the way they look for the black girls was going to be the way they look for the black girls. And I don't think this situation made it any better or any worse. But that is my opinion. So we're going to go around and hear from the people. Felicia, what do you think about this Carlee Russell situation? And do you think that, you know, she needs to do some time?
Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm so glad that I got a spot up front in the business car.
Okay.
Yeah, because I wanted to get on here and talk about this family. You know, I've got compassion for Miss Carlee. I got grace for her, but it's running out. We running dry on the grace. Okay. It's my understanding that at her birthday parties where everything was going great and everybody was celebrating, word got to her mama that they were going to be charging her as well. So, it turns out that, well, mama had break point at the party. So, you know, she started crying and breaking down and what we're going to do. And that is why that statement and Mr. Anthony was hired, because before that, mama was talking about she wasn't going to be bullied. The family wasn't going to be bullied into producing another statement or bringing forth the daughter. So they're at the party. Mama has break point and okay, what we're going to do. So they hired Mr. Anthony, who is a notable, renowned criminal attorney. Wow. He's really good. I think he's going to negotiate something for this family. I believe Carlee will get time and time that she deserves, maybe 30 days, 60 days, something like that. And maybe she'll get some mandated mental health therapy or behavioral therapy or something like that. As for the boyfriend, I don't, you know, I don't know. I don't know who he is. I don't even know why he is. You're not the boyfriend, you're the ex-boyfriend. You came out and said that she fought for her life for 48 hours.
Come on now, talk about it.
And I was like, oh my God, what did she tell him? How awful, how horrible. And now it's like, yeah, I'm out. I don't want nothing to do with her. Blah, blah, blah. I also heard that some of the family members put a restraining order against the Russell family because they're demanding something that he not turn in the phone. I don't know, something to do with text messages. And as we know, the folks in Hoover, as Opinion can tell you, that law enforcement's not playing around. So I think it's supposed to happen tomorrow or no later sometime this week, where the charges are going to be announced. And I think they're all well deserved.
Yeah. Thank you, Felicia. Nancy Davis, thank you for the super sticker. Truly appreciate it. you know, his is interesting. And I add this as I go to in my opinion. I said it on an earlier video. I 100% believe somebody helped her. She's not the type of chick that to be living outside all that time. And then I think anywhere she would have been outside for that 48 hours, someone would have seen her. Like, people now are straight detectives. You can change everything about you, and they'll be like, that looked like Carlee. Child, these people now, you can't get nothing past them. So she wasn't roaming the streets for 48 hours or 49 hours because she would have been a little dirtier. Something in the water is still not clean. But in my opinion, talk to us.
Okay, so and she will get more than the 90 days. Okay, the list that she will get is a year because her big charge is obstruction of justice. And in the state of Alabama, that carries a sentence of 1 to 10 years.
Ooh.
And she has two counts on that one. So I feel sorry for this little girl because she's gonna pay the price for not coming forward in the first place and saying, I'm sorry at the beginning. Mr. Anthony was also hired before the birthday party. It was only when they had the birthday party they told them they had 72 hours to turn her in or they would arrest her. And then that's when he made the statement. So just to clear up some facts. And from what I've been told, it is alleged that she was staying in one of her mom's properties from Keller Williams that had just been built in the Hoover area is where she was hiding out at in the new subdivision they're building.
Mm.
So that baby's gonna get some time, and I hope she gets the much needed help that she need because they said she had a burner phone on her, and that's how she was unblocking people and communicating while she was supposedly going through all her kidnapping struggles. So, and they know all that stuff.
Mm. Whew.
And as far as the
Sebastian.
boyfriend, him and his sister got a business together, and that's the reason why they on the clout. Because sister, okay, came out and said her statement to say, and then she wanted to let everybody know you can follow her on YouTube and on Instagram with her clothing line. So
Mm. Sheila, thank you for the super chat. 30 days, my tell. Sebastian, your thoughts on this situation?
can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm gonna try to be very civilized with what I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Carlee needs to go up in this jail and stay in there for minimum 30 days. That's the minimum.
Mm-hmm.
But if since one of the charges is 1 to 10 years, if she could get 9 months to a year, that'd be great too. She needs to learn how it feels when your rights are taken away from you. Because that's what happens when you're imprisoned, and that's what happens when you're kidnapped. She needs to know how that feels, which is why she needs to be up in that jail cell.
Mm-hmm.
Um, them hiring an attorney was great, but they should have never had that birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
They should have never had that birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the Hoover community, I feel, is probably very angry about this whole situation. Rightfully so, because this is a lot of panicking. Being told that there's probably a baby out here baiting, someone's probably baiting to kidnap people with a baby. It's very scary. Um, the boyfriend, and I'm gonna say this, and I want y'all not to drag me. Y'all need to promise that y'all not gonna drag me.
Mm-hmm. Come on, talk. Just talk. Uh-huh.
He needs some mercy, y'all. Y'all need to have a heart when y'all are talking about this boyfriend. Come on. So he was in a situation where he was cheating on Carlee allegedly, and then this whole situation. Then they were told that she was kidnapped and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So he obviously he went to social media and he was trying to have a heart. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him. He was trying to have a heart. Sadly, he didn't realize the type of person that Carlee is.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Sadly, he didn't realize the type of person Carlee is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we need to have a heart for Tamar.
Mm-hmm.
He is innocent.
Oh.
Yes, he is innocent.
Uh-huh.
He was doing what any concerned boyfriend would do.
Mm.
Um, he was gaslit by the family and Carlee. He's
Oh,
a
really?
victim.
Really? He's a victim?
Yes, yes, he's a victim. He's a victim
Okay.
of manipulation.
First of all, I don't know how long we need answers, right? We
We
don't
do
know
need
how
answers.
long Tamar and Carlee dated. We don't know, right? But one thing I know is this.
A year and a half, Diva.
Well, that's good enough. Thank you. In my opinion, right? You know, in 365 days plus, you kind of know who you dealing with. You know if you got yourself a drama queen. You know if you got someone that misrepresents the truth every now and then. That's enough time to know a little something. And how about this? I give him some grace. If he didn't know her, he should have never came out on social media and said not one comment because we didn't know about him until he told us himself. You hear what I'm trying to say?
We
So
need to have
he
mercy,
came out.
Diva.
No, and here's where I lost the mercy, right? I lost the mercy because when I first found him on the Facebook and then the Instagram, he did not have 67.9K followers. He didn't have a blue check mark. Okay. And he had a post up with him and Carlee and all of these pictures. It was just one post, and it was a collage of pictures, and it pretty much find my baby, find her. Okay. He was praying. He was all happy and praying, like, find Carlee, right? Then when they found her, he put up a post saying, thank you, Jesus. They found her. And he said that she was fighting for her life. Okay. And this was even, after people was trying to figure out, how did she walk home? Who walks home after being kidnapped and abducted with the $107 that they allegedly stole from their job still in their sock? Okay. And when somebody put up a comment talking about, we don't know what she looked like when she arrived home. Her mother said in the CNN or whatever that interview was, thank you, there was like one bruise on her lip or something like that. The mother didn't say she was dirty, looked like she was starving and outside for days. She said the abductors fed her cheeses. So she had some food. I bet you we look on that burner phone.
And they play with her hair. Don't forget they play with her hair.
And listen, if we get the burner phone, she probably ordered her some Pizza Hut and stuff.
And she got she actually took some food she bought Cheez-Its from some local store, I believe.
Yeah, listen.
She bought cheeses and granola bars from Target and took it with her.
She has some food.
Yep.
But she also posts about snacks all the time on her Twitter because it's on there. She love her snacks. She ain't gonna go nowhere without her snacks. So
listen, and she had her some food. I promise you that. Okay. So listen, this is what he wrote. Carlee's actions created hurt. This is after he told us to shut up and stop bullying her.
He didn't know, Diva.
And then when the police department, and listen, you know what? Hashtag shout out to that police, the chief of police out there in Hoover. Dude, he did the darn thing. Came up there looking sharp, and he did the darn thing. But anyway,
Captain Durza is amazing.
Yeah, amazing. But listen, he said Carlee's actions created hurt, confusion, and dishonesty. You don't say. I was made aware of the false narrative after coming to the defense of my ex, Carlee Russell. Myself and my family's nature was to react in love and genuine concern. We are disgusted from the outcome of this entire situation. I strongly feel exactly like you all. Well, just 24 hours earlier, you was telling us to shut up. Now you understand us? He said blindsided with Carlee's actions. This is still an ongoing investigation, but with all of the recent information and her confession now, we gain closure with this situation. Tomorrow, there's no closure yet. We still got questions. Okay? Thank you to all my family friends. See, he always circles it back to him and the nation for support through this. I want to also send prayers and thanks to Miss Angela Harris, her team, and all of the volunteers. Thank you again for your unwavering support. The severity in this matter has not been overlooked. Well, who are you now, the cops? Tamar, go sit down. And I deeply respect the genuine support shared during this situation. Please continue to keep us in your prayers. With love, Tamar. He needs to go sit down. And you turned off the comments. So
Diva, he
that's
was
my
lied
problem. No,
to.
no, listen, Sebastian. That's my promise too. My problem too. You want to talk about all of this. We in this together. So turn on your comments so we can talk to you.
But Diva, he was lied to, Diva. He was lied
We
to. He was
all was
trying to
lied
believe
to.
her.
We
He
was
was trying
all
to
lied
believe
to,
her, Diva.
Sebastian. And he said, Tamar said, we in this together. So if we in this together, Tamar, turn on your comments and let us chat with you. I'm not letting him off easy. He knows something. And he better tell us what we know. Okay. Emmanuel, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so I haven't talked about this situation with anyone because I know I'm going to be dragged, but it's okay because I'm always dragged usually. But I think it's overkill at this point. I understand. Don't get me wrong. I understand, and I feel bad for the people of Alabama who thought there was kidnapping and that there was toddlers in the highway. But she didn't do anything other rich, spoiled kids haven't done in the past. I don't think for one second that she ever thought that this was going to become national news. I don't think it was ever anything like that. And I hate to say this, but nobody was hurt. And Winter, I do think she should have some community service, and I think she should pay somehow. But for her to go to jail, that's too much. When are all the Karens who waste police time going to go to prison for what they do? So no, I think it's overkill at this point. Um, yeah, do some community service, but I'm sorry.
What about the boyfriend, Emmanuel?
Sebastian, somebody did get hurt though. Them moms that was out there looking for her, they were moms of kids that had been, kidnapped and taken too, or they children
And
are
now
not alive.
the parents and the two parents that have spoken out, they are disgusted and hurt because they're like, that's taken away from their child's case, and the dad said, I'm
So hold
trying
on,
not
guys, because I really want to go in order. Hold on one second. Emmanuel, let me just say this, right? Here's the thing. I don't know where everybody's getting this narrative from that all rich kids just do some wild, crazy stuff. I don't know where that's quite coming from.
They do, Diva. They do.
I don't
They
know about
do.
no.
They
Hold
do.
on now. Hold on now. I don't know about saying all rich kids do some crazy stuff. Now we got to calm down with that. Y'all will have to give me some percentages because I know a lot of kids and their family got cash on top of cash and they not out in the street acting a monkey nut fool and making stuff up, talking about I was kidnapped. They're not. They're not stealing from their job. They're not, maybe they're doing other kid stuff, but I don't know just a rich kid that's just acting this crazy and making up an elaborate story that they was kidnapped because they broke up with their man. I don't, y'all will have to show me the records because I know plenty of people that have money and their kids is not acting a fool. Listen, one of my son's friends had to wait for his car to come in because they ordered him a Tesla. He ain't in the streets acting a fool. So I'm not understanding this narrative that just because you have money, you crazy and she's so overly spoiled. I know kids that are mad spoiled and they're not acting a fool. If you want to call it spoiled. See, the thing is, I think that there's this narrative if you give too much, that the kid is just going to be just crazy. There are a lot of kids that was given a lot and they do a lot and they're very smart and they do the right thing. So I don't know if I'm going to roll with the narrative just because you have money, you're acting a fool and therefore she should get off. No, this chick made up a whole story. She Googled on how and what she was going to do. She scared the people by saying there was a toddler involved. Now, if we would have X out some of the pieces of her story and it would have just involved herself, I'll cut her a little bit more slack. But she added a toddler being involved. So now you got the whole world scared that there's some toddler in some diaper that's missing and that was on the highway along with her. She Googled the movie Taken. And then when she knew the whole world was looking for her, she walks home and she gives a statement to the cops like, yeah, and they had me. They fed me Cheez-Its.
An orange-haired man.
And now you invite an orange-haired man. Now let's do a reversal here. And
Okay.
she said the baby was white. I don't know. Did she say the abductor was white? I don't know if she gave the ethnicity.
She said the baby was white.
What about the people that
She said it was a white man with orange hair and a bald spot in the back of his head, and he had a woman and a baby with him, and they blindfolded her, but they didn't tie her wrist because they didn't want to leave the marks on her.
come on, in my opinion.
They took off her
Let
clothes
me
and
do this.
probably
Let me
took
do this,
pictures.
Sebastian. If that was a white girl who said 2 black men took her, or a black man and a black lady, we would all be outraged. She blamed some white man with some red hair and bald and some lady and a baby. No, this is bigger than we trying to make it out to be. I'm not saying the girl got to do life in prison, but I'm saying that something needs to happen because this is beyond a spoiled brat. This is a hot mess. And I will agree. I'm not blaming this on mental illness, but I'm saying you got to have something mentally off to come up with a whole elaborate story like this. And this is beyond you being just a brat because somebody got you a BMW and your family had money and lived in an affluent neighborhood. Something ain't right. But that's my opinion.
Emmanuel, give your thoughts on the boyfriend.
Oh, the boyfriend, he's innocent. He didn't do anything
Exactly.
because this whole thing was like made for him. So he was the main victim. He was the one that was lied to the most. So no. And Diva, I'm sorry, but if people are following him, he cannot control that. Those are the people on there and going follow him his page. So he didn't do anything wrong. Yeah.
I do agree with the following, right? Because I followed him also to keep track of the news and everything. So I do agree with the following, but it's beyond the following. You know, he's throwing little tidbits out and talking here and there. If he wanted to be so removed and so quiet, he could have stayed dark. He didn't have to say a word. What did we know about him before he spoke? Nothing.
That he cheated.
Diva, God forbid this would have been real. People would have been like, "Oh, so you're not saying anything about your ex-girlfriend?"
So what?
So you can never win. So
you can win. Silence is golden. Kathy Hilton told us that. Sheila, thank you so much for the super chat. That police chief was Easter Sharp. Yes, he was. Julius, what are your thoughts?
That child need a whooping. She listen, I'm going old school.
Mm-hmm.
You wasted taxpayer resources.
Come on.
From actual kidnapped victims.
Uh-huh.
You took advantage of their parents' empathetic ways of giving, compassion, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Over a lie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know if it was me, and I'm not from Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Before my parents would turn me in, they would have tore my behind up, no questions asked.
Mm-hmm.
Because then it's going to reflect on them as parents.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh no, we ain't going down for you because you chose to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sheila, I'm sorry, Sheila, thank you for the super chat. That's the problem. She didn't date. Saz K said, hell no. Sherry Penny gets jail time, so does Carlee.
Exactly.
Right. Go ahead.
And this lady, this Sherry lady, she plans hers. Same thing with the Carlee girl.
Mm-hmm.
So she getting jail time. So should Carter.
Come on now.
She grown. And what are we told when we're young? If you act a fool enough to get in trouble when you grown, you go through the consequences. Let's not just sugarcoat it, because half of the time Black women are not believed. Our fellow Black sisters, who I love, are not believed when something does happen. But this here right now, not the case. Now, as far as the boyfriend, he can hush. He can hush. Because my thing is this. Why now do you want to say, oh, this situation is disgraceful?
Come on.
This, that. You took advantage of the situation to be an opportunist. Now, if what Brother Sebastian says is true that he was stepping out with another woman. Now that's all alleged, and quite frankly, that's not relevant to what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all allegedly.
Mm-hmm. Even more reason for him to shut up, right? If he had him a
Still
side,
keep your mouth
maybe
shut.
right. If he had a side chick, and that could have been the reason why she snapped. All the reason why stay dark, stay undercover. Okay,
That part.
exactly, Diva. These are just generalizations. I know rich people that work harder than others because their parents wanted them to learn how to earn money.
That part, and I agree with this commenter.
Yeah, yeah. Smoopy, thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate it. Chef Kev, you in the building. What are your thoughts?
Oh wow. Did anybody got Amazon Prime?
Yeah.
Anybody?
Wow.
Yeah. This movie is on Amazon Prime. It's called The Lie. You can
Mm.
watch it. It's a good movie too. I saw
Mm-hmm.
this movie before.
Mm-hmm.
So now when someone gets accused, and we be hearing things, and y'all wonder why we pause for a second sometimes. When women say a man did something, we pause. This
Mm-hmm.
is the reason. And you're playing with lives. That's the part that people don't get.
Mm-hmm.
You're playing with lives.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it may be joke and play to you, but you playing with someone's life.
Mm-hmm.
Someone could have got arrested, someone could have got, it could have been a whole bunch of stuff. The boyfriend could have been accused of doing something to her, the ex-boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't know. So you're playing with lives. So whatever little key and she was doing, or she thought she was doing, I agree. She needs a whooping. She needs an extension cord and standing in a puddle of water. I mean, this is not funny. This is not something that you do, especially when you have
Well,
people out there.
let's get beyond that. I know everybody want to say,
But listen,
I'm gonna let you finish that, Kev, but give me a minute. I mean, this girl is 25, right? Everybody was like, oh, a whooping, a this or that, whatever. She needs help. She needs serious help because you planned this thing down to the T. You stole money from the job because in my mind, you didn't want them to see that you took money out on your debit card or something like that. So that could maybe lead towards it being planned, right? So you did a lot of stuff that tells, and then there's some searches she did that they don't even want to tell us because they don't want to put her business out there. They said that in the press conference. So this is beyond, oh, she's some little kid that should have been disciplined by her parents or whatever. The girl's 25. So we have to look at this from the standpoint of what do we do now? Right? You was already raised by your parents. You're 25. The girl went to college and graduated. She was going for a second degree, to my understanding, in nursing. She worked at a place of business where she allegedly stole money from and other items, and they fired her. So as you stated, what if they really would have took a sketch of this alleged person and started looking for them? That's where this thing is bigger than what we're saying. It's a mess. She messed up. Carlee's parents make a nice earning. They have to work. They are not rich. Carlee lived at home. If the parents are rich, why didn't she live in her own home or apartment? Lolo, okay, I'm with you on this. I feel like the parents, they made probably a nice living and they was doing the best they could for this girl. I think the girl has bigger issues. And they throwing out mental health. I don't want them to throw out mental health as a means for her to just get away with this. But I feel like something has got to be mentally wrong with you to do some nonsense like this. Chef Cat, finish your thought.
Is it mental health or is it needing attention, seeking attention? I mean, I don't see, and this is another thing. I believe in this society, we're pulling the mental health card way too many times. And I just believe that. We're pulling the mental health. So, mental health, mental health, mental health. Look, whatever happened is just crazy. I don't know what's her problem, but the problem is for you to plot this out, you plot and planted this. You're an educated person. So are you seeking attention? Like what is your problem? So the thing is that like I said before, you play with lives, you play with emotions. You had families out there who had, who had been through this and was trying to help. And so these are the things that, when I say, you know, you have to realize the consequences of your actions. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Not just serve the consequence, but understand what you truly did. Yeah, you could lock her up and put her in jail, but if she ain't learned from it, don't mean nothing. She has to understand the consequences of her actions. And this was disgusting because you literally played with people's lives, okay? And you did things. You got people out here looking for you, and you not missing. People got other things to do. You taking cops off the beat of solving other crimes. Like this is play. No, this is not that. So she deserves whatever she gets, jail time, whatever, she
Mm-hmm.
deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting here and I don't live nowhere near Alabama, and I'm looking, it's on the news.
Mm-hmm.
This is sad. So I mean, it's you have to understand this. I want kids to see this. This is not something you do. This is not a joke. This is not something you play with. I don't know what she was thinking. So she should get consequences of action. So I have absolutely 0% sympathy for her.
Mm-hmm.
0%. And that's just that. So as far as the boyfriend, I ain't even been a thought. I ain't think about him twice. But this is something, very, very serious. And she needs to understand that. And the people, kids who watching this or see this needs to understand how serious this is. And
Another
that's all I got
reason
to say.
as to why they're going to have to do some form of discipline, because a lot of times with situations, people there comes copycat incidents, right? So unfortunately, she's going to have to be utilized as an example too. You don't play these games. Sheila, thank you for the super chat. Don't forget they polished her nails, right? It was just a mess. Something is not right in your head. And everybody, and this is not just to you, Chef, that to you, Chef Kev, I'm just saying in general, if everybody's saying attention, again, if you're going to this level for some attention, something ain't right in your head. Leo, what are your thoughts?
Everybody pretty much said everything I pretty much feel about it. It was a waste of time and emotion because at the end of the day, she lied. So, and whoever helped her with this, they lying too. So whatever happens and whatever happens with law enforcement, she did what she did and she needed to suffer the consequences. We can all sit here and say, well, it shouldn't be over policing and it shouldn't be over punishment. And I get all of that. But once you start breaking the law, you don't get to determine what your consequence is. So, I mean, I feel sorry for the parents. I feel sorry for the family, but I don't necessarily feel sorry for whatever consequence happens because of the things that she has said and done. I don't.
Thank you, Leo. I agree with you. I agree with you too. Consequences are necessary in this case, regardless of Carlee being black. Right? Her color ain't got nothing to do with it. Wrong is wrong and right is right. And this was a whole hot mess. Okay. Let me just read this real quick. I work in a very affluent community and a small minority of kids act stupid. Not her kind of stupid though. They don't need to. I know one kind of crazy kid who unalived a couple in the 80s. Yeah, I hear you. It happens, but it's not like the norm. Dadon, what are your thoughts?
I just want to give a shout out to the police department of Hoover for them doing a fantastic job of going in forensically and just finding details. We don't get national coverage like this.
Mm-hmm.
And when it was told that she was missing, it got national coverage.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe a few hours, a day later, the temperature changed because people wanted to know why. But I'm pissed because this girl was in a spotlight for being missing.
Mm-hmm.
She took that spotlight from someone else from being missing, another black child from being missing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, we don't get that national coverage often, and she screwed it up When someone plots an unaliving event, you have premeditated consequences, and this needs to get premeditated consequences because you plot and plan to the down to the T up to what you're going to eat, the trail that you're going on, where you're going to stay, your burner phone. You knew what you were going, you knew what you were doing. And when I first heard this story, I felt sorry, but then there was some tingling in the back of my head that said something don't sound right. You're on a highway, you leave your phone, you leave your iPad, you leave your watch, you leave your wig, everything that you could be tracked is in the car. And you just walk away. So should she get some penalties and consequences? Absolutely. But thank you for the officers in Hoover for taking this so seriously, even though she was a Black woman, because we just don't hear about it like we should. All cases are not publicized nationally, and this one was, and unfortunately, is another Jesse Smollett.
That part.
Yeah.
That part. Exactly. It really is. Here's the thing though. This is my opinion only, everybody. The only reason why it got this attention that it did is because she initially called in like the kid.
She called 911. Yeah, that's
She
exactly
called
why.
about the kid though, in the diaper, this baby, right? And so because there are protocols on the time frame.
Not just any kid, Diva, a white kid.
Right. And so there's protocols to this thing where you do have to wait if they don't know. Like if I was to call the cops right now and say, oh, my son is missing, they're not going to just put that in. They're going to tell me I got to wait 24 to 48 hours, depending upon the situation and how much I say. If I know that my son always checks in at 9 o'clock, they'll up it and give it a little different look. If I can prove on my phone that no matter what, every night I speak to him at 9, they're going to do a little something different. That's why I want to tell everybody too. If you have a loved one, it could be your parents that are older, whatever, and y'all don't live in the same state, tell them every day, y'all both check in. Somebody call somebody at whatever time you decide. Because what'll happen is when you call the cops, instead of you just thinking, oh, this person missing, no, I can tell you every day at 8 o'clock, I speak to so-and-so. Today I called 10 times and they're not picking up the phone. They will act a little bit quicker. But just generally speaking, no. When it's an adult, you're going to have to wait the time period. That's the protocol. But see, her thing happened so quickly, not just because they wanted to, it's because of the sequence of events that happened. She called and they know she called, and I'm making up a time at 5 o'clock to say, I see this person on the highway and I'm about to pull over. So they was already on their way to her. You understand what I'm trying to say? And so now they get there, they don't see a toddler, but they see her car. Of course they're going to make this a red alert. We literally just spoke to this chick. She said something about a baby. Now she's missing. Her car's still here. Her wig is on the ground. All of her stuff is in the car. They're like, holy crap, what is going on? So they're not going to wait on something like that when they know that they just spoke to this girl and she promised that she would wait there with the baby that didn't exist. So that's why her case went so quickly and happened so fast. It really is because she made that phone call to 911, and then when they got there, she was gone, vanished, out of sight. So I came to you, Leo. I came to you, Don. Denzel, what are your thoughts?
I'm pissed off about that. I'm really pissed off about this situation because at first I felt bad for her because I was like, what in the world is going on? Mm-hmm. And then I said, well, wait a minute. How is a toddler walk on the highway? I was like, did they drop the toddler off? And then the more I heard about this story, I said, something ain't right. Something don't sound right. And the thing is, God forbid, if a black man or a black woman go missing, some people gonna say, are they lying or they telling the truth
Mm-hmm.
because of her?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, she played in our faces,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and then she making a mockery of it because it is real victims that have been missing,
Mm-hmm.
and she think this is funny, and not only that, allegedly they they gave her a birthday party. Like, come on, who does that? And I was it her parents that gave her that party?
Well, how about this, Enzel? If it happened in her parents' house, then we need a mental evaluation on the whole household.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because it's like, okay, you're gonna give her a birthday party. Okay, okay, yeah, the people that gave her that birthday party, they suspect too.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you something. She's 25 years old, and she was living a good life.
Mm-hmm.
Something something mentally ain't clicking in her brain
Mm-hmm.
for her to do something like that and mess up her freedom. Like,
Mm-hmm.
she messed up her freedom. She's stupid.
She messed up
And
her whole entire life,
that's
right?
what I'm saying.
Mhm.
Like, why? I don't understand why people do that. They want to do something stupid and then they mess up their freedom. I don't get it. I don't get why people do that. I don't get it. But she needs to go to jail. She needs to go to jail. Yeah, it needs to be consequences, and people might not agree with it, but she needs to go to jail. She needs to go to jail, and not only that, uh,
She got some fines to pay. She got some fines to pay. Tania, I don't know if her sorority kicked her out. I do not know. They have no information on that, but I do know she's a AKA.
she was in that.
Mm-hmm.
Can I say one more thing,
Of course.
Diva?
Uh-huh.
But yeah, she needs to go to jail. And do some time because she does need some. She need consequences, and this is not funny. This is not funny. Now I'm gonna say this, and people might not like it, but she's gonna get her karma. God don't like ugly. Shame on her.
She
She
already
makes
she actually is already living in her karma, to be honest.
right. People like her. I don't like people like that. That right there. That made me sick. That pissed me off. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
She's
Yeah.
over.
Yeah. She doesn't realize how bad she messed up. Probably. Where does she work now? The best case scenario for her is a name change.
Mm-hmm.
For the whole family to move somewhere where they could possibly just, go under a different name. So she impacted the whole family because I'm sure the parents are having trouble at work, wherever they work. I'm not saying this right. I'm just sure that the chatter is going around. This is a whole hot mess. It's
It's
bigger.
embarrassment. It's embarrassment.
It's embarrassment. It's bigger.
Well, the mother and father should have never sat up on that TV screen at the Today Show. They should have never did that interview.
Mm-hmm.
I believe at that point in time, because they was cooperating with the police, Sebastian, I believe they really believed their daughter was missing. I really believe that. Because even the Hoover police chief said that the parents were cooperating the whole time. I think once the sketchiness of her coming home by foot and all of that, I think that's where they probably had a little like, even though they did the press conference once she got home, I do feel like somewhere along the line they realized something wasn't right.
I doubted this story when I first heard about it because it didn't make sense to me
Uh-huh.
how she left her phone and everything in the car. It just never made sense to me of a toddler walking on the highway, but other cars have not stopped or anything. Like that toddler would have been dead. Oh,
Right.
unalive.
Right. So, Shan, you said, I wonder why the chief read the statement instead of Carlee or her attorney showing their face. I'm gonna be honest with you. You know what? I promise you, this chief police, he needs to go around and teach some other police departments on how to handle racially sensitive cases, because for sure this man did the thing. Excuse me 1 second, guys. All right, that's the kid. I'm sorry, guys, but I think that this he handled it well, and he's allowing the family and them to kind of like, hang themselves, so to speak, because I do believe they know more than they even saying right now. I do believe that they feel just like we do, or some of us do, that somebody else helped us, somebody was involved, or she had to have done what I'm gonna call a dry run to figure out where exactly she was going to pull up on the highway, get out of her car, and do all this. Now, there was some
Hey,
hairstylists
Diva,
that I
that's
feel
what they're looking at now. They're looking at the cameras to see if she did a drive run.
I believe it. And I believe some of these hairstylists that said, now listen, I'm a braid girl. I used to wear braids a lot, but I do believe the people that said with the wig. Usually, because they said that wig that she had very expensive, and usually it is tacked down, glued down. So she didn't just snatch the glue down wig off her head. She planned this, and she planned this to the T. And she threw the wig down to make it seem like a struggle with all that. But my thing is, you struggle, but you had no bruises, really. You struggle, but they didn't tie you up. You struggled fighting for your life mentally and physically, but they painted your nails and fed you cheeses, the cheeses that you happen to have purchased.
And she turned down a mental evaluation from the police department.
Oh, see, that's interesting. That's interesting. That's
It was
interesting.
a plot. It was a plot.
She also stated that she believes when they tied her face, the alleged abductors, they took pictures of her naked. She told the police that.
She did say that.
What? Wow.
She did say that.
This is a plot. You know what? This was a plot in a scheme that she did.
Yeah, this is a lot. We got to stay tuned with this story. She snapped. Sheila said she snapped. It's a possibility she snapped. There are people who, when they break up with a mate, they just can't seem to recover. She could have snapped, but the thing is, usually when people snap, I'm not saying she did or didn't, Sheila. Thank you for the super chat. Thing is, though, when people snap, it's usually an in the moment thing. She planned this thing out. And I think that's the problem that the police department is having also. And it was an elaborate plan. She Googled stuff. She Googled the movie Taken, everybody. She Googled, can you get in trouble for doing a forced Amber Alert?
How to do an Amber Alert.
How to do an Amber Alert.
Right.
What can you meltdown? Maybe. I don't know. The trouble I'm having with labeling this thing to the T is the fact that this was such a detailed plan, and she knew exactly where she was going to go stay. I believe she stayed in an abandoned house. It's a lot. Okay, Taken was a good movie too. Yes, Miss G, it was. Don't do that. Yeah, no one plans a breakdown. Yeah, yeah, she lost it. But I do believe people helped her.
Yeah, I believe that too.
Yeah.
Can I ask you something, Diva?
Yes, I want to move to the next thing.
Yeah. Did they create a GoFundMe account?
That's another false thing that people are putting
The
out.
GoFundMe was taken down.
Yeah, the parents.
Okay.
The parents never were the ones to even start that GoFundMe.
Okay.
They were not. And the parents never got a dime of any GoFundMe. The money that they're talking about is the Crime Stoppers money. And that was the Crime Stoppers decision not to give those people back the money. And if you go look in the history of that,
it wasn't the Crime Stoppers. It wasn't the Crime Stoppers that stopped it. Hoover, the police department, stopped it because the investigation wasn't complete.
Yeah, but they knew this girl wasn't kidnapped, so that was a little bit messy to me. So my thing is, the Crime Stoppers announced, they was about when she was found, and even before they even know deeper into the story, that they was returning all the money. And if the people wanted to say that if you wanted to keep it, they could have. But then they, like, in my opinion, said the Hoover Police Department said, you know what, we're gonna we're stopping the redistribution of giving people their money back. But the parents, outside of other people helping them and bringing meals to their home and stuff like that, the parents didn't receive any money from any type of fund like that. I'm gonna read this comment from Sandy 2 cents, and then we'll move to the next story. We can be so hard on our people. I'm okay with a reasonable legal response, and I'm also okay with her getting favor by the judicial system like many others do. All right. So here's the thing, right? We just talked about the other girl who she's paying her fine and she's doing time. And we do like to generalize a lot of stuff, and I'm going to move past that, right? But I will say this. For me, black, white, yellow, orange, or green, you do the crime, you need to do the time. History shows that even if it's a child, that if you keep saying, don't do that, or clean your room or you won't get this, and the next thing you still let them have it, they never change the behavior. So to me, there needs to be some consequences. I'm not saying they got to be harsh, but there needs to be some consequences. She needs to pay restitution, but something has to be done. This was too much of a big, elaborate lie. And just like, even though Jussie Smollett is running free now, he needed to pay too, because the lie was very hurtful and very harmful.
But isn't he on appeal?
He is, but it seemed like he ain't never going back though either.
We don't know that.
We don't know
I
that.
think his case was way worse.
How was it worse though, Emmanuel?
Oh no, it was worse, Diva.
Because it was way worse, Diva, because he actually planned this to be national news. He brought in politics, he brought in race, he brought in civil rights groups. Like, it was way worse in my opinion.
He bought nooses. He bought fake.
He hired people. He actually hired other people too.
It was kind of worse.
We're gonna agree to disagree. You know why? Because she really did no different. If you look through all the details of it all, she didn't say I saw a black baby in a diaper. She brought in race.
Yep.
She brought in race. She didn't say I saw a black baby in a diaper. She didn't say my kidnappers were black. She brought race into it. She brought an Amber Alert into it. She brought a whole lot of stuff into it. They really no different. They one and the same.
They both bad.
Yeah, they both bad. Yeah. Okay. And Jay said he didn't. We gotta come to a crossroads where we'll say that we agree to disagree. And I'll just say, in my opinion, she needs to do some time and have a fine, right? Somebody just put yourself on mute. I'm hearing a lot of noise. Okay, so we'll move to the next story. I don't know, and I hope many of you was able to see it. Okay, but Nene Leake did an interview with Carlos King. Listen, it's a part 1, and there's 2 parts. So part 1 already happened. Part 2 will be next Tuesday. I'm gonna summarize it as best I can and really quickly. She talked about Bryson, right? And she said, he has an addiction problem. She tried to help him. There's 2 people that stepped in and said, when he gets out, they don't mind, bringing him to rehab. But again, we talked about that, right? That unfortunately with rehab, you got to want it, right? So, you got to want to, go to rehab or whatever, or it's probably never going to work for you. But she talked about one of the guys she talked to prior, said he would pay for Bryson to go to rehab, and then Lamar Odom. God bless Lamar Odom. I'm telling you, he's a comeback story where he reached out to her and said he will also bring Bryson to one of his facilities to try to get him some help in recovery, right? So she addressed that. She said that she has 3 grandkids. When we spoke to Simone the other day, which people have their feelings about Simone. I don't want to walk back down that path, but Simone said he has 5 kids. Nene acknowledges 3. Which one is true? I don't know, unless we speak to Bryson, right? So she also talked about her time at Roa. And if I had to give my opinion really quickly on that interview with her and Carlos King, I'm going to summarize it and said 2 bitter ex-employees living in the past instead of living in the now and creating a great future. You know, Nene said that Roa is the house that she built, and those girls are currently living in it. So they talked about the heyday when Roa used to get 5 million views, and now they're only getting 500,000 views. Well, you know what? Carlos is one to talk, because the last I checked, Love and Marriage DC, Love and Marriage Huntsville, Love and Marriage Detroit, Bell Collective. I don't, where have they bust down 1 million views? I haven't seen it.
Not even 500,000, to be
Not
honest.
even 500,000. Haven't seen it. So my thing is, like, you want to talk, right? He's talking all this mess, and he talked about how he was the king when he was over there producing Roa and whatever other show he named. And I'm saying to myself, okay, if you the king, recreate that thing on own. Recreate that thing on own. If you are the producer, you're the reason why Roa did what it did. Let me tell you something. Very shady interviews, Sheila Mack, in my opinion, too. We're connecting right now. So here's the thing about reality TV back then and reality TV now. I think reality TV has run its course. So I don't think it's a matter of Nene coming back on Roa and it's going to be the end all be all. I think reality TV, it is what it is at this point. And I will agree, because Bethenny kind of connected to some of these theories, right? I will agree with this. You know, Bethenny said that, you know, like the reality TV stars should be getting, you know, what do you call those checks?
Residuals
Checks and all of that. But see, the thing is, reality TV, it became what it became the last time that the writers and everybody had a strike. That's how reality TV blew up. It blew up during that time period. So I'll go back to the Nene interview, and, you know, she danced with her words, because he asked her, he said, many people say you didn't even listen to your own words about closing your legs to marry men. And what she said was, well, he was separated when we got together, and now he's fully divorced. But he's fully divorced, and yes, you said y'all not together. You said you're single, he's single. She claims she met him 1 month after or 2 months after Greg passed. It was not when Greg was still alive. That's fine, whatever. Shaded everybody darn near on the cast. It's like she shaded them and then she pulled it back a little bit. And so did Carlos King. Because he was like, you're the queen. You were the glue that held everything together. You're the reason why the show was what it was. Y'all the first Black reality show. I mean, the thing went on and on and on and on. And all I thought to myself is, here are 2 ex-employees of Bravo just bashing the show and bashing what it was. Listen, I said this before and I'll say it again. The people that own Gucci now has nothing to do with the family. But the family built Gucci, the house of Gucci, but they don't own the house of Gucci now. So sometimes you got to just take things for what they are. And she also said that, you know what, Cynthia, there's another side to Cynthia. And because so many people said that every time Nene went somewhere, she called for Cynthia's, you know, to be fired. Cynthia claimed that, Nene claimed that Cynthia had a master plan, you know, and was trying to get her to lose her bag also. She claimed when she first started, they made 10,000, which I do believe that. And the reunion, I think they got 5,000 for the reunion when she first started, right? Next year, I think they went up to 50K. The next year, they got a lawyer. They went up to 100K. And then we know how history kind of went from there, where they almost started busting down, getting $1 million checks, so forth and so on. So what else do I want to say about this interview? She said when Kenya entered the building, that's when all the fake storylines and all of that came, and that's where it lost all of its authentic content. She claimed that she was the only girl on that show that kept it 100, that kept it real. The interview, part 2 is not out, Lizzie. Part 2 is, you only watch part of the interview. Yeah, finish watching it, but pretty much like I said, if I had to summarize it, 2 bitter ex-employees. That's the way I summarize it. But that's me. Okay, I could be 100% wrong. I started at the bottom this time. Julius, did you see the interview with Carlos King? Okay, did I lose everybody?
I'm here.
I'm
Okay.
sure
I'm here
I'm
too. Yeah,
here.
we're here.
So Denzel, I'm gonna go to you. Did you see the interview?
I saw a little bit.
Okay, how do you feel?
Listen, um, Nene Leaks. She looked good.
Yes, she
She
did.
looked good. You know, the thing is, I get that Nene said that she built the Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but at the same time, she's not on it no more.
Come on now.
And not only that, she said that Andy Cohen and Bravo are racist, allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
And so she did that to herself. Now she didn't, and don't get me wrong, she's good TV. She's funny, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And if she didn't do that, she would probably still be on the show today. If
Mm-hmm.
she didn't pull that stunt, you know.
She didn't sign her contract. She didn't sign her contract
You
when
talking about for season 13?
yeah, she didn't sign her contract, remember? Because at that
Right.
the girls was trying to push her out. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's what they were doing.
They was, but you know what? They all did it to each other at some point in time, right?
Yeah,
She
They
did.
yeah.
all they
But
all do alliances. They all try to push each other out. They all try to be
you
messy.
you remember when they had the big versus the what is it? The big
The
versus the
tall
talls,
versus small.
smalls. Yeah, you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I believe that. She can sing. She can sing.
Mm-hmm.
I never understood why she didn't come out with the
Now, Denzel, you're
album.
going too far now. You're going too far.
No,
Because
she can sing though.
listen, she sung a couple notes, Denzel. That don't mean that you can go in the studio and do your whole album with going so loud.
Diva.
Listen, let's wait. Miss True Kelly said I enjoyed the lie. I enjoyed the lie. It was a hot mess. It was a hot mess.
Did you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh no, because it shifted. Um, can I say one more thing?
Uh-huh.
I watched a little bit, and it felt shady. And but this is the thing, they need to let it go, and go with go in the future, and maybe Carlos King could give Nene a show. I don't know.
Mm. Well, first of all, Carlos King would have to release his vendetta and his grudge he has against Bravo and mind his own.
Why is he?
Now
Oh,
listen,
I'm sorry.
and mind his own business. No pun intended. Mind
Come
his
on, Diva. Come on.
okay.
Come on, Diva.
Got shows over there. You have the opportunity to build something great and really show Bravo that you the man. But you still here focus on what you did in season 6 and they on what, season 15?
Right.
I mean, really though. So you over here shading that, you know what, they only getting 500,000 views, but yet we list your shows and how many views are they getting? But yet
So
you claim you the man with the plan and you built everything, you did everything. Well, then recreate it over there on your shows.
so
Hold
he
on,
can't be talking.
he can't be talking. Eugene said, in my opinion, I think the Carlos King and Nene interview was polished. It was a well done interview. That's so I give it that. And Nene looked amazing. And Nene is the one that told him, no, I don't want to do Zoom. I want to come in. And that was a brilliant idea. But it still doesn't take away from the interview was nothing but fluff. The interview was nothing but fluff, and it was like a bitter employee still talking about season 6 is how many years ago? They in the house that you built. Nothing can go down, and the show would never be right till you come back. That's crazy. But that's my opinion. LB, you in the building. Thanks for being here. What do you think?
Hello, everyone. For me, Nene her mind got bigger than the show. The show has always been an ensemble, like the Justice League. You see what I'm saying? It's always an ensemble. However, for me, I didn't like season 1 and season 2. I just started really liking it to Candy and Kenyon really kind of came on because they brought a different element. Because Kim was hiding the fact that she was dating a married man, and plus, for me, she was just a high class trailer park trash person. That's my opinion. And she showed that she was racist. For me, Sheree didn't show her real life because when Bob put her out, remember, well, word on the street, she went into an apartment and then she wasn't showing her original daughter because she was so scared because it was an outside daughter because she didn't want people to know that she had a child at 14 and she didn't have a high school diploma. So she can't sit up there and say, oh, Kenya, the one started not showing her reality by bringing on higher men. Right, they was doing that prior before. Especially, so my thing is then they brought on scamming Marlo, as her friend. So come on, Carlos have always been messy. And then Nene went to her other show, and I heard through the grapevine that, she was over there being a diva, being demanding, telling folks she a star, this, that, and the other. Then they let her go.
Well, she was down that she would never do. She just shows up for work and does her job.
No, that ain't what had happened.
Okay.
That's not what had happened. I know for a fact that's not what had happened.
Exactly. Go ahead.
And then, you gonna sit up there and say she cashing Donald Trump checks just because she was picked to be on The Apprentice. I'm never knocking a woman accolades. I'm happy that she was eligible to get what she got. But when she made it, she looked down on that ladder and said, I'm better than you. But then again, as her face and her skin started changing, she became the person that she wanted to be. She matched her inner person. Nene is a mean girl. I don't care what nobody says. She's a mean girl. And however she, what she get is what she get now. I wouldn't watch nothing she on. And that show that Carlos is producing, all of them scammers, only one good person over there working, which is Melody Cherie. All of them that scamming. And he can't say nothing about, with Andy on Bravo because Cherie was bouncing checks. I heard, Marlo bounced checks. So Kim had started, now Kim started bouncing checks. And Andy had to help her from her house. So all of them had some issues, but they never showed that.
Come on now.
They never showed that reality. And then Phaedra, I liked her in the beginning, then she want to hide her pregnancy. I'm like, well, was you with another man? That, what was you hiding for? But everybody is entitled to their privacy, and I got that sense of it. But the whole interview was beyond shady, and you're correct, Diva. It's two gruntled employees that want to bash the company. One sued, and one thought they was gonna sue, but they couldn't because Carlos couldn't sue Bravo.
Boom! You better talk about it. If we gonna talk, we gotta talk.
Diva, can I share my opinion?
Wait, give me a minute because I'm going around. I just don't, because if I don't, I'm gonna miss somebody. But yeah, we gotta talk. If we're gonna talk, we gotta talk. Smoopy, it's true. Her Ryan Murphy antics were not good. That's why he dropped her. But she act like no, all is well, all is good in the hood. I would never do this. I would never do that. Messy, and I think that what. At this point in the game, both of them should be beyond that. But those are my thoughts.
Right? No, he's still over. He's at OWN. OWN just got bought out by somebody else, and they trying to cancel the show over there because they didn't want the ratchetness to come over to OWN. Because that's what when Oprah owned it and Discover owned it. Discovery Channel is not about ratchetness. So I don't think the show's going to be picked back up. And one more thing, Carlos is the messiest Carlita. His name is not Carlos, it's Carlita queen that I've ever known. He messy all around the board. But that's my opinion.
Ooh, child. Yes, it was different. It was different. Julius, I'll jump back down to you, then I'll come back up, guys. Go ahead, Julius. What are your thoughts?
Honestly, it's like the same thing that we said to Monique, and she had to relax a little. But the thing is, Nene, she don't want to relax. She did it to herself. Same thing with Kim, did it to herself. Um, and Carlos King, I just find him annoying. Like, you hold a grudge for what? You was let go. If it was wrongful determination, guess what? You go after the company. You don't do fake feuds with individual people who said they ain't got beef with you. You got beef with them for no reason. You have not produced any receipts. Some of y'all know who I'm referring to. But I'm just saying. So, no, I didn't see the interview. Do I want to? No, because it's just pointless. For what?
Yeah. Emmanuel, your thoughts?
Okay, this interview with these two, it was legendary and it was revolutionary. Okay, I'm so glad they did it. I'm sorry, but the numbers don't lie, you guys. And it's not the fact that they're getting 500,000 views, it's the fact of how much down they went and how fast they went down. That's the point. Nene spoke nothing but the truth. She built that house. Her and Carlos worked at Bravo, so they have every right to speak on their experience, especially because they contributed so much to it. I'm glad she called out Kenya and how she was bringing those fake boyfriends, and I do understand how the dynamic of housewives changed. It all made sense what she was saying. I was surprised what she said about Cynthia. I love Cynthia, but I wouldn't put it past her that she was having alliances with the producers. Um, and in that interview, it just reminded us why Nene was the star of Bravo. I mean, the way she just randomly started singing, the fun shade. No one can fill those shoes. I'm sorry, but the current girls don't have the charisma that she has. Candy, yeah, she's famous. Kenya is messy. Marlo is funny, but none of them are a star like Nene. That's why it's not the same. She's also very creative because she suggested to Carlos that the interview be done live in person. Just like she also suggested that there should be a reunion and that she suggested watch what happens live. Let's not forget about that. And everybody wants to bring up how horrible she was during that last season of the show, but you guys are forgetting that her life partner was dying and how the other girls were coming for her. And it wasn't just her. All the other OGs were going through the same thing. I mean, Vicky, Lisa Vanderpump were also targeted by their cast. So Team Nene, I can't wait for her to be back on television because we miss her.
I'm speechless. But
You know it's true, Adia. You know it's true.
no,
It's not the
actually,
same.
you know what, Emmanuel? If you look at
I
the
thought she
numbers,
wasn't on the show when Greg died.
she was,
No,
but
he was
wait,
going
let
through
me,
it.
Emmanuel, let me say this. If you look at the numbers, they were going down even when Nene was there. So they want to distract you with conversation, right? And the last time he talked about good numbers was season 6. Well, there was a season 7, there was a season 8, there was a season 9, there was a season 10, there was a season 11, there was a season 12. You get what I'm going, right? And there were several of those seasons too where Nene was still on the show. Now, they want to black out the period when Nene started to act a fool. And maybe all of her fans want to black it out too. What I will say is when Nene was good, she was good. When Nene started to not become good, Nene started to not become good. Nene wants to negate the fact, and that's fine, because sometimes people like to block out memories that not so pleasing to them, right? She wants to block out the fact that when she was on that show, the very thing she accused the girls of doing to her in the end, She did it from the onset, and she said it out her own mouth if you really paid attention to her. I watched the interview twice. So what she said was, I didn't want Phaedra on there because I felt like it was my show. So do you not think that's hating? So you are the gatekeeper. Only you can say who comes and goes. And that's the way she behaved the entire time that she was on Roa. She wants to say, I'm jealous of no one. But if you say that Phaedra, you didn't want her there because she was from Athens and you felt like it was your show, does that not equate to some form of jealousy? So go back and listen to her words again. She tries to cover up and mask the truth, but you know what they say about the truth? It will always slip out the person's mouth some way, somehow. And in that interview, everything slipped out her mouth. I feel like I can't prove. Do I think there's another side to Cynthia? Absolutely. But I feel like can't prove. The reason why she gave that Cynthia story is because every time people want to say something, they say how many times she came up and said who should be fired, who shouldn't be fired. And her comeback to that was, I always said Cynthia because behind the scenes, Cynthia did XYZ. I didn't buy it. Double talking. Come on, Sheila. Let's tell the truth and shame the devil.
You right about that, Diva. You right.
Cynthia did the same thing once, though. She went on the Wendy Williams show, and Wendy asked who should never come back, and she said Nene.
She said Nene once compared to Nene saying it about 10 to 15 to 20 times.
Exactly.
And she always said that Cynthia was boring. But then you want to say about people banding together. You only wanted the people to band together when you was no longer getting your $2.2 million check when you got kicked off the show. Before that, I'm not buying it that she wanted all of this band together. Why? Because she sat on the reunion couch and she told Marlo, you up here acting a fool for pennies. Now, come on now. I watch Roa. I love Roa. And I wanted Roa to win. And I wanted Roa to win for several reasons. And yes, Nene was good. But when Nene turned the corner and started getting a big head, I'm a rich B. I catch Trump checks. And I'm not saying it because she's saying Trump. I'm just saying in general, she got a big head to the point where when she got the roles on some other shows, she was like, she almost was like she didn't need Roa. And then
she said that. She said that.
LB, right? Then she found out quick, fast that $2.2 million check, it meant something and you need it. And exactly why Candy's not giving it up. And I personally, I wouldn't be giving up my $2 million check either. Listen, if I could get a $2 million check and I could go hang out in Portugal, do this, that, and the other, I wouldn't give a darn what no chicks say about me. I'm going to collect my $2 million check and do my other jobs too. So all I'm saying is Nene is good TV. But when you have employers and they got to make a decision, I never forget, this never left my mind in retail. Christmas season is the busiest season in retail. And the day after Christmas is almost like a complete nightmare. It's almost the same as Black Friday. All I got to say is this. We were short on staff. We had this nightmare employee. My boss came back the next day because she was debating back and forth whether she was going to fire this girl, right? She said, I spoke to my husband. My husband said, let her go because he said, you're doing overtime anyway, following behind where she's not doing whatever. He said, but if you let her go, you won't have the headache and you're going to do the overtime with a little bit more ease, right? So employers would rather work harder and do more than to have a rotten apple on their hands. Because what happens is when you got a disgruntled employee, they impact everybody else around them. You got to cut them loose, let them go. Nobody is that darn good. And let me say this, Emmanuel, I don't care what you say. There is no way on the face of this earth, if you was running a business and I sued you and I called you racist, that you would hire me back. And I don't care if I was your top salesperson, you wouldn't hire me back. So why are we expecting Bravo to just forgive Nene and take it back? Who would do that?
Netflix did it with Monique, though.
They did it reluctantly and they pulled the point. Why? Because I'm not going to go back and fight with y'all. That special Monique did, it was worth the money they was trying to give her in the first place.
Right.
I wasn't sitting in my house cracking up, rolling over on the floor at all. And listen, when I go to comedy, I want to bust a
Diva.
gut. I want to bust a gut and be laughing.
You
On the
didn't like it?
I know you did not just say that,
You
Diva.
did not like
Diva.
it?
No, I didn't like it either because it wasn't funny.
it wasn't.
Oh.
Well,
And that's why Netflix
she ain't
gave
funny.
her. That's why Netflix gave her that show because they showed something that she lackluster, that she is not the it girl no more.
That
They
part.
showed her something. So
She was
sometimes
never
it takes a
funny.
little money to spend to get your point across. They spend some money to get their point across.
And they did it. They did the darn thing. The Don, I'm coming to you. What are your thoughts?
Now, let me preface this by saying this. Nene, I don't agree with everything Nene has done. I don't agree with everything Nene has said. Her choices with taking legal action with the company, I think it could have been handled a different way. The way she left the show, choosing not to sign her contract, she's done a lot of wrong. However, this interview was better than the entire current season of Real Housewives of Atlanta. I laughed. She gave us information about Brent. It's already at 200,000 views. Those are Atlanta ratings on YouTube. People miss this lady. They miss her. And no matter how messy y'all say her and Carlos King were, that was the show. That is the show. And if I can't pat myself on the back worldwide, then nobody should be able to. So if I can tout that I'm worldwide and I'm here there in Japan and we singing my karaoke songs over here, she should be able to pat herself on the back saying how much she did for that show and that network. I'm just calling it like it is. I don't agree with everything Nene did, but she did bring a lot to that network and to that show. And that woman is TV gold. The way she just walked onto the stage for that interview, I was like, look at this chick. She's about to bust her tail wide open trying to walk in these heels. But it was funny. And that's what the current cast is lacking. Yes, she was on the show when the numbers started going down, but these numbers today are proving that people miss her. And she may not ever be back on a Bravo network, NBC Universal Network, but she is missing. The people miss her. 200K in 12 hours is insane.
Well, someone did the Jamie Foxx. I think is more of yeah, I think it's not for the reasons you say, but we can agree to disagree. And when Jamie Foxx finally dropped the video, whether it's him or not, somebody's video got 1 million views in 2.2 seconds when it was Jamie spoke. That video that he did on his Instagram and someone just went ahead and reposted on their Instagram, it got 1 million views. I bring that up to say this. I think they was interested in hearing what she had to say about Brent. And I think the rest of it, it kind of went from there. And I think if Nene would have went on anybody else's show, especially being that just what happened to Brent, I think it would have pulled in similar ratings. But that's my thoughts on it. And I think if people missed her that much, College Hill didn't really do that well. That was recent. If Nene is gold for TV, the minute she would get on any other show, I think it would blow up. If she's gold and those two have the magic key, then put her on. And let's see what it do. I want to see her win. But I'm willing to bet money because Nene is still stuck on what reality TV did back in season 6 versus what reality TV is doing now. Proof to what I'm saying is they revamped, because everybody loves to say revamp the cast. They did it for New York. It's not doing nothing. I think, it's entertaining to me. I watched it. It's different, but it ain't doing nothing because they're really doing the same formula that everybody's doing right now on reality TV.
But they revamped the cast and they cleared 1.7 million views.
Ooh.
Yeah, but I mean, nobody. I don't think they cleared 1.7 million views. I think because it's just new, but it's still not doing nothing for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like a great show, but sometimes they need to clear it up, and that's what Atlanta's coming to. Take everybody off.
A cleansing. That's what we need.
Yeah, because it's the same old mess all the time. Everybody has the same mess all the time.
So does the New York.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But sometimes they need a refresh, and for them to get a refresh and clear 1.7 million views for their first two episodes, that's impressive for them because New York. Just think about their last season; it was trash, right? They weren't bringing in any ratings, and they got a fresh show, fresh people, and they're getting their ratings back up. Sometimes that's maybe what they need. The energy is stale over there. People are tired of Marlo and Candy fighting, tired of Marlo and Kenya fighting, tired of Sheree making up stories. Bring something new.
Yeah.
A reboot.
Or let's hear about Portia and her husband or something. I'm not saying Nene needs to come back to the show. That's not what I'm saying at all. Because I don't think Bravo, NBC Universal will have her. But a refreshing, a facelift, and maybe some Botox. That's what they need.
Well, Sheree did enough Botox for everybody.
You know what though, or maybe just reality TV has run its course. It is what it is.
Right.
Literally, I don't care if you call it. Go ahead.
Reality TV hit its strides, like you said, during the first writer's strike, and if this doesn't, it may be on another climb again because of this current writer's strike. We don't know how long the negotiations are going to go, because there will be nothing else to watch on TV. So, who's to say? But this interview, I thought it was funny. Nene, them two together, they had good chemistry. I don't know how it was on the show, but the chemistry was there on this particular interview.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna fight you because that's your opinion, and I'll just agree to disagree. I just felt like it was the same Nene with the half truths, the lies, the messiness, the I'm better than everybody, and if it wasn't for me, there would be no Roa. Here's the thing: on a basketball team, yeah, there's a star, but if it wasn't for your other teammates, could you still have been the same star? I don't know. I feel like there's no I in team. And so it worked because at the time, all of those individuals that you were surrounded with made it work, right? And again, out of all the names you can call, if you watched it, again, you're praising Kim, but yet Kim was in the lawsuit. It just, the math ain't mathing to me. It didn't make sense. And maybe because I looked at it at a different angle. If I looked at it at just entertainment purposes, beautiful, wonderful. Those two hit it off. And yes, even with her singing, yeah, that was cute and everything, right? If I'm looking at it at entertainment purposes only. But if I'm looking at it for the content, for what it was, messy. Very messy. And sideswiped every one of your coworkers left and right, to again put yourself up on the pedestal to say I am the queen bee. And still, I don't know where these people are getting from that because of her reunions exist. So not true if you look in the facts. But if y'all want to give that to Nene, that's fine. And my thing is there's people all over this world giving away their intellectual property to jobs, and guess what? All they get is their paycheck. When she talked about the $10,000 she got the first season, well, Bethenny Frankel got $7,500. Most jobs, a lot of people when they start, they get lowballed. That's what these jobs do. And then finally, y'all got paid your worth eventually. So saying I miss Nene, but I can do without Nene. She became really mean and nasty, extremely mean and nasty. Carrie, what are your thoughts?
One more quick thing, Diva.
Yes.
Even the current queen of the show said that she misses Nene on the show.
Talking about Kenya?
No, I'm talking about Candy.
No, yeah. Kenya said that too. Kenya is
and Kenya said it.
Kenya said it too, but Kenya and Candy said
Miss number 2 said it.
Yeah. Yeah, listen, I'm sure they miss her because now it's a lot of foolery, right? It is a lot of foolery. Now, one thing I totally agree with her, and I have said it before, they're missing that authentic piece. Those girls were actually friends, and I said it before on my channel. And when they fought, it was real fights. It meant something. You know, I laughed about it, but Drew's whole argument, it was like Candy said, and scene. It was dramatic. It was drama, and for what? Okay. Drew has come at the best of them. She has come at everybody. And now Sheree coming back at you, you crying. But anywho, Carrie, what are your thoughts? But let me say this. Let me read Michelle thing. I think the interview was good because he was the best person to interview her at this time. She is who she is, hasn't changed much. I will give her props for what she brought to Roa. Okay, I can agree with that. Carrie, your thoughts?
Oh, she's saying the same thing everybody else said, Diva, that you disagree with. But anyway, um, I thought the interview was great.
No. Let me hold on, Carrie. That's not so. Hold on. Let me say this real quick because that's not so. I said if I looked at that interview as entertainment purposes, then okay, I'll say it was a good interview. But if I'm looking at it at the content, I said this very clearly. If I'm looking at the content, she was shady. She was still being a mean girl. She was saying I'm the queen in the end all be all. And he too, I'm standing my ground. Disgruntled employees. I won't back down from that. But yeah, she's entertaining. We can't never take that away from her. But if you go back and you watch that thing again, it's the lies, it's the double talk, it's the messiness. I did not want Frazier on this show. I did not want this one. When this one came, the show went downhill in the gutter. But yet she's good for TV. Well, which one is it? Did Kenya bring the show down in the gutter, or is she good for TV? Which one we doing here?
I didn't hear her say nothing about no gutter, but anyway.
Wait, hold on 1 second before you speak, Carrie. Somebody else, do me a favor. What did she say about Kenya when Kenya arrived on that show?
She said that's when the show changed.
She
and
said
that's
the
when they started.
dynamic.
Hold on, Carrie,
The
not
dynamic
you.
changed.
Hold on 1 second, Carrie, not you. Somebody else. What did she say when Kenya arrived on the show?
She said the dynamic changed because they started to introduce fakery, fake boyfriends, fake story.
Absolutely.
The
That's what she said. And that's what happened.
In the gutter. You brought the show in the gutter. That's what she's saying.
No, she's not. That's what you're deriving from that. That's not what she said.
You say to me when
So you're missing words.
No, Carrie, if I arrive on the job and somebody said when I got there I was fake, I was a fraud, that's when the dynamic changed because you introduced storylines and you would make up stuff just for the producers versus being authentic.
Diva, we sit on this show every week and say that about every reality show. So what is she saying that we don't say all the time? Nothing.
Okay.
That's what we say. Everything is fake. They make up storylines. So when she said, but that's fine. Anyway, I thought the interview was great. But I'm not a Carlos King hater and I'm not a Nene hater either. So I probably would say that it was a great interview. I'm just a little surprised that the only thing that was brought up was the things that people don't like about what she said. She did talk about Bryce. She did talk about her husband. It was asked of her if she had any regrets about her children and did this show affect her husband. So I think it was a very well-rounded interview. I just thought it was a great interview. And she did bring a lot to the show and people do miss her. No, I didn't agree with everything that she did either. I didn't agree with her attitude all the time, but she's no messier than anybody else on that cast. Every time somebody get a chance to have a microphone, and every time they get a chance, I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice, to be interviewed, they have something negative to say about some of the other cast members. I don't know why she always gets this bad rep for doing that when every reality star does this exact same thing. Are they as vocal as she is about it sometimes? Well, I'm not gonna say vocal, I mean loud about it. May not, but they all do the same thing. They all do the same thing. And as far as this, them not bringing her back, you're right, because they're a huge company and they don't really need her as far as bringing in any type of revenue. But like I'll say this again, I did it to a company and I still work for that company. And the only reason why it's a rarity is because people are afraid to stand up and say what's right and what's wrong. That's why they don't do it. Racism is happening. I mean, everybody's saying it. They're just afraid to do anything about it. And maybe she could have went about it the right way. Lovely Scott said the same thing. He said they are. He said it is. It is true. He said Nene just went about it the wrong way. So I think people need to stop saying about her that she just made up this lie about Bravo when it's not the case. Same thing happened to Ebony K. Williams. Same thing when she was on the show. But I think it was a great interview. Oh, and one last thing. Carlos King has a right to say whatever he want to say and do whatever he want to do. If he messy, every vlogger, every blogger, and every YouTuber is just as messy.
Okay, thank you.
Well, everybody have their
Okay.
opinion.
Am I next? Because the thing shifted. Am I
Wait,
next?
wait. You are, but I'm coming to you, Sebastian. Go ahead, LB. What was you gonna say?
Everybody have their opinion. But my thing is this. When you make up lies to almost destroy a person and almost can send a person to jail and then turn around and want to factitious bring something to your mother and your family and stuff, that's crossing the line. And that's why Carlos got fired from Bravo for what he did to Candy during the season with Phaedra. It was Phaedra and Portia saying that she had a dungeon, a sex dungeon. That's what a lie came from.
But she does, and she also admitted that they have threesomes and they have to sign NDAs and they use Molly. Can we move on?
Allegedly.
Right, but then
Well,
why
she said it out of her? She said it out of her mouth. It's not alleged. I'm not saying that. She can roll it
She
across
never
the
said she
screen.
had a sex dungeon. What
Yes,
she
she
said
did.
was no, she did not. Verbatim. She said, I never had a sex dungeon, but I never said that I did not partake within sexual activities. That's a difference.
But all I'm saying is if
that's the difference.
Carlos King can say whatever. He has a channel. He has a YouTube channel just like everybody else.
Okay.
And every other YouTuber called the other YouTuber messy. Everyone.
But he's a producer. He
can say whatever he wants.
He can still say whatever he wants.
Expect backlash.
Okay,
Even what is going on here,
Hold on.
the train is shaking.
The train is shaking. Let's do timeout. You know, sometimes we gotta. Train is off the track. Sometimes we gotta agree to disagree. And listen, all I would say is this. I think even when you are a talent on the show and you have a YouTube channel, it's a thin line that you falling on, right? And I would say this. Listen, no, everybody have your channel, but sometimes you gotta know your role, right? You're a producer on the show and you want to dib over here, but then you're producing the show and then you're talking about other shows that are out there. And I think it's a colliding and it's a what do you call it? What do they call it? What do they call when you maybe work at a bank? I forgot what the word
is. It's an explosion waiting to happen.
Yeah, it's an explosion waiting to happen, but it's a conflict of interest. Is what I'm trying to say, right? And so it baffles me too when people want to say just because you have an opinion on something, you hate this person. I don't have no hate towards Nene. I really don't have any hate towards Carlos King. But I do have an opinion on, you got to know how to do things, right? And I personally, and it has nothing to do with being afraid and not being afraid. I know when to speak up. I know when not to speak up. I know when not to throw a bomb on the bridge and when maybe you got to blow up the bridge, but you got to know what you're doing. And I would also know that I'm not going to sit there and talk about my coworkers, but then say I can come back and save the show. But that's me. Sebastian, your thoughts?
Okay. I want everyone to be respectful after what I'm about to say. Okay. Nene, her ego started to kick in, not at the end of her time in Atlanta. It started to kick in when she had the opportunities to go on Broadway, when she went on Glee, when she also went on The Apprentice. That's when her ego started to kick in. And that's when she started to become messy. She thought she was the better one. She thought she was the queen of the show and everything. But she keeps on talking about Kenya and of people fabricating storylines. But Roa only became interesting is because Kenya was one of the few women who actually went up against Nene. That's when Roa started to become interesting. That's when the ratings started to go higher. It's exactly that time. Season 12, she behaved like a gutter snipe child at that reunion. She wrote a note about saying that she had to go flush her tampon. She was very ratchet at that reunion. That whole season, she concocted a lie that Cynthia was talking bad about her, and that Giovanna had a recording of Cynthia talking bad about her. Um, but come to find out, Giovanna debunked the whole thing and said that Nene created that whole lie and told her to do it. So the same Lanitia that was complaining about storylines being fabricated is the same one who fabricated a whole lie on Cynthia Bailey about saying bad things. I want Nene's little fans to take their vitamins and
The
drink
bad.
enough water. I want I want them to drink water and take their vitamins because they're clearly delusional. The same issues that Nene sat on that show on Carlos King and complained about. The same things that she complained about fabrication, falsifying storylines, and etc. is the same things that she did on the Real Houses of Atlanta as well, that she participated in. Um, we cannot forget that Nene also, there's certain things about Nene that we didn't know. We didn't know. Remember that Lisa Wu rented her house out to Nene when Nene had issues? Um, you complained that Kim Zolciak was racist. You called her racist all the time on that show. But now you sat up on here. You put it on the lawsuit as well. But you sat up on here on this Carlos King show and said that Kim is talented. She's great. She's wonderful. Oh, I've spoken to her. This is the same woman that you complained that that she's racist, and you were put in a toxic work environment by Bravo when they brought her back onto this show.
Come on now, talk, Sebastian.
I I need
Talk the
Lanithia
talk,
and her
Sebastian.
fans to go sit down and seek help because clearly something's not all up right there. In the words of Kenya Moore, Nene came on as a beautiful, fine chocolate woman. And then she now is a white woman in drag. Now check that.
Mic drop. Boom.
Oh,
That was good,
train
Sebastian. That was
is
good.
shaking.
And I
Shaking.
agree.
The train has shook. In my opinion,
Off the reels.
off the rails. In my opinion, your thoughts.
Well, you really ain't gonna like mine, Diva.
Hmm.
So I watched this interview, and for the life of me, this is the thing. Okay, I get what y'all are all saying. This is my thing. When I look at something, I'm looking at it for face value. Okay, and I feel like for y'all, or for some people, y'all are looking at it and y'all seeing everything that has happened in the past, but we're not in the past anymore. We're talking about this interview, or at least that's what I thought we was talking about. And I thought it was the greatest.
I'm gonna let you finish, but they talked the past in the interview.
Yes, no, that's what I'm saying. I'm only judging from what was said in the interview. And I didn't take all the negative stuff away from it because here's the thing. Let me tell you something. If you've seen any of these housewives do interview, they all are shady and they all throw daggers at somebody. Okay, so I'm not looking at it for that. But I was looking at it for the part of when they said Portia was finna get her check was finna be taken because she was married to Cordell and they thought she was boring and her and Candy had to go to the executives and keep her job. I'm giving her praise for that. I'm telling you, when she got emotional and told you about how her husband felt unappreciated, unneeded because she was finally getting a bag and didn't need him anymore, and how she had to realize that was taken away from him being a man, I was taking that into consideration. For all the hate that Nene gets, let me tell you something. I'm telling you, she's no different than any other housewife that sit on your TV. They all talk about each other. They all backstab each other. They all throw each other up under the bus and run over them with their car. and they'll do it again and again and again. We seeing it every time. We sat here last night and talked about how Drew got thrown up under the bus and ran over by that same bus. Okay, Candy was shading her, talking about and scene. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody was taking into consideration. So yes, they all do stuff like that. I'm not expecting Nikki to come out and be Hail Mary because she wasn't Hail Mary on the show. But I'm saying this interview was great because she didn't shy away from anything that Carlos asked her. She didn't shy away from it. She kept a smile on her face the whole time. I thought it was wonderful. And I really appreciated that she said when her son get out, she was going to make sure that he got with one of those people to get in rehab. So I thank Lamar and that man she was dating for both offering to take that boy from jail to rehab. And I hope he gets some help.
Smoothie, thank you so much, but it's our job to watch, argue, disagree, rinse and repeat. I appreciate you. Sheila Mack, I feel the same way. Not the same thing, in my opinion. They're doing it while they're working on the show versus going to an interview and dropping all of that tea the way it was dropped. But we can all agree to disagree because we'll be here all night, and I really don't want us to go back and forth like that. We saw it differently. You pulled out what you wanted to pull out of it, in my opinion, and I pulled out what I wanted to pull out of it. No difference. You pulled your side out, I pulled my side out, right? And so
No, we don't catch feelings on this train, Diva. I'm just saying for me, I like it.
but I'm just saying in general, respectfully, right? Everybody pulled out their side of it. And I literally watched it twice because I normally when I recap something, I don't just watch it once, I watch it twice, right? And so yeah, if I'm looking at a straight up entertainment person, entertaining all day long. Felicia, your thoughts?
Hey everybody. First, I don't really watch Housewives reality shows, and so I appreciate all the good talk about them. But I do work, and I do work in corporate America, and many of these reality talents have never worked in corporate America, and a lot of that backdooring, that undermining, it's 400 or 500 years old. It's coming us straight out of the plantation. And sometimes we can get caught up emotionally versus protecting our income, our resources. And when it's time for us to go, we plan our exit so that our futures remain bright, that we can go on and continue to provide for our families. I look at Nene as a woman, as an individual human person who's gone through so much tragedy. I don't know if she had grief counseling. I don't know if she had termination, separation counseling. I don't know. But she probably could benefit from a little bit of that so that when she is doing talks with folks, it doesn't come across so, kind of me. More entertaining, less offensive, perhaps. I didn't see the interview, but I do know people who have left jobs, and when they weren't able to move on, they get stuck. You could see them outside, years later. They're still talking about how they were treated. I'm like, that's nothing new. You move from one plantation to another. You build a skill set that you can take with you wherever you go. They say, oh, well, I see you working over. Absolutely. Got a new master. I keep it moving. And congratulations to, I don't remember who it was exactly that said it. I think it was Carrie. That she said she filed a lawsuit and won and stayed on the job. Girl, I know it took great courage and bravery to stand in that fight and win. Congratulations to you.
All right, guys, this was what a conversation, but we had it. I don't have time for the rest of the stuff that was on the docket. We'll address it tomorrow. I will say this, right? Each situation, you got to look at it separately. And I think that everybody, whether you work Walmart, Target, Starbucks, you go through a little something. I'm not saying my advice is the end all be all. Had a friend one time, she wanted to lose her natural mind. And I told her, hold on and hold tight, because unfortunately, no matter what industry you work in, is only but so many jobs you can go through to, and all of these places are connected. All of them are connected. You work in the hospital, you could work in hospital A and it's connected somehow because all of them merge to hospital B, C, and D. If you're a pediatric nurse, it's 9 times out of 10 when you move to the next hospital, you're going to run into some pediatric nurses that you work with at the other hospital. Same thing, no matter what the industry is. So Increase Matter said, we're not saying stop it now. You know, we can, here's the thing. Let me just finish with that. Thank you, Sheila. Don't burn bridges, right? And this is, I'm not saying, so I don't want people to get it twisted. I'm not saying if you have some really serious problem that you shouldn't sue. But I am saying that some people, there's a problem that's not a problem and they make it a problem and everything is a lawsuit and everything is like it's the man and sometimes it's them. Okay, so if you're supposed to be at work at 8 and every day you get in there 8:05, it's not the man, you're the problem. If you go to work and you keep browsing on your computer, shopping for clothes and this and that and not doing your job, it's not the man, you're the problem. So I'm just saying that every problem sometimes that people claim is a problem is not a problem. The real problem is them, right?
How you conduct yourself.
How you conduct yourself. So yeah, so of course now, right? If something is happening, it's not right, it's unfair pay, it's this, that, and the other, then you need to speak about it and do it. But sometimes people complain about unfair pay, but it's sometimes you got to know how to negotiate your pay when you come into the job. If they tell you $15 and you say okay, that's on you. Okay, if you wanted 15, if you wanted 15.50 or you wanted 16, you wanted 18 and you didn't ask for it, that's on you. So there's so many things that you have to teach yourself and have to learn. Everything is not a master plan that the man has set up to just take you down. Some things, sometimes it's your own foolishness that takes you down. And again, not a Nene hater, but you can't run on the track one way and then when you crash and burn that way, you want to complain about all the other things that didn't happen, whatever the case may be.
That part.
All I gotta say is this: once her heyday came, at her heyday, and I'm talking, I don't care what housewife show it was, in her heyday, she was the highest paid housewife across the board, hands down.
Exactly.
So I'm going to leave it at that. It was the conversation. It was a lot. Definitely go watch the interview. And like the Don said, in less than 24 hours, we're at 200K.
She was making almost $3 million a season.
Come on, Sebastian.
So Lanithia needs to go sit down and be quiet and stop being a gutter snipe child.
Okay.
Sebastian, we're on the same cart, Sebastian, but we're on the cart alone. Okay. So listen, Bethenny, no, Bethenny was not the highest. You got to go check out the facts. Bethenny was not the highest.
Oh, she wasn't?
No, she was not.
No.
Oh, wow.
How Bethenny ended up being having the most money of all of them because she had an excellent lawyer to negotiate her contract that she wouldn't have to pay Bravo 50% of her earnings if she promoted her company on Bravo's dime. That's how she was eligible to keep her money. That's why they have that thing out now called the Bethenny clause.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bethenny was the smartest. Yeah. She was the smartest.
No, she took less. No, go read the story because in that Not All Diamonds, Pearls, whatever that book was, Bethenny took less her first season because she did not want them to have a piece of Skinny Girl. And Skinny Girl wasn't even what it was in the first season. She was scrapping around. Okay. So what happened was she had the foresight and believed in herself and knew what Skinny Girl was going to be, that even when she didn't have a dime, she did not allow them to write in a contract that they would take a piece of Skinny Girl. Now you can go get the book. This is not Diva making it up. This ain't alleged. This is in that book, Not All Diamonds, Pearls, whatever that book was. It is in there where she clearly says that I took less money because I did not want them to have a piece of Skinny Girl. And so she never she branded herself, right? That is how you do it. But all of these other girls, because they're not building their thing up, like I want to say, what's the girl on Potomac? All the rest of them, they're giving 10% or whatever of their business to Bravo when they promote their stuff on Bravo. But Bethenny did not write that in her clause, okay? And she said as a result, she took less money that first season, but you see how she made out on the back end. And
she's smart. She's smart.
She's smart, but she licensed everything too. But I'm not gonna go down that road. It was a great conversation. I love all of y'all for being here. Watch the interview, hands down. And let me get this all together, all the way clear. I wish that Carlos King would do his thing over there at home. I wish that he would pay more attention to his shows. I'm not saying he can't interview anybody else, but when I would have pumped out Love and Marriage DC or Detroit, whatever one that was, Detroit, the newest one, I would have had those people in your face. I would have did an interview with every single couple right off the bat, telling y'all to go watch. All I'm saying is Carlos King is missing the target because he's so busy looking over there at Bravo. That's
Diva,
all I'm saying.
Diva,
Yes,
you
and I'm
forgot about
closing out.
this.
Yes.
Carlos, what happened to Nightcap with Carlos King?
We're not going to go there, Sebastian, because we don't want people throwing darts at us. I love y'all. Good night. Good
Love you, Diva. Love y'all. Love you, Diva. Love you, everybody.
Best of luck to Nene and everybody else, y'all. Have a good night. I'll see you next
Good night.
time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.